Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to today's video on the channel. A while ago, I made a video talking about how Sonic Colors held up in 2020, and a lot of you seem to like it. So this week, I'm going to be making a similar video, except this will be on my personal favorite Sonic game, Sonic Unleashed. Normally, in these type of videos, I like to normally split it up into parts: story, voice acting, controls, gameplay, and the likes and dislikes. This time, however, I will be adding another section to the video, soundtrack. But without further ado, let's hop on into this. Starting off with the story of Sonic Unleashed, it starts with Sonic in space on a huge ship. Eggman yells, "Fire!" and Sonic is then shot at by huge cannons and has to go through a bunch of egg fighters. Sonic dodges all the bullets from the cannons, and then suddenly Eggman shows up in a huge robot, which I think is the Egg Dragon prototype. When finally Eggman grabs Sonic, Sonic summons the Chaos Emeralds and becomes Super Sonic. Super Sonic goes flying throughout each of the ships in space until finally only one is left. Eggman falls to the floor, begging Super Sonic for mercy. Unfortunately, this is a trap that Sonic runs into, and Sonic gets captured by some machine, which took away Sonic's superpowers. This machine continues to extract energy from the Chaos Emeralds even after Sonic has reverted back to his normal form. The huge cannon is then charged up with all this energy from the Chaos Emeralds and is shot on Earth. This awakens the creature in the Earth known as Dark Gaia. This also will be splitting the planet into pieces on Earth. Sonic then slowly transforms into this creature known as the Werehog, and Sonic falls down back to Earth. Throughout Sonic's journey, he will begin by meeting Chip, which more or less takes the role of Tails as a sidekick for this Sonic in this game. Sonic will travel through many continents on the Earth, ranging from Apodos to Atabat. He will be going to each of the temples, restoring life and color to the Chaos Emeralds. But of course, before we skip to how Sonic defeats Eggman in this game, I do have a spoiler warning right now, so if you don't want the story of Sonic Unleashed spoiled for you, please click off the video right now, because this is a game best played blind. Alright, I hope we're all good. Alright, cool. As I said before, this game is best played blind, so I'm just leaving you guys ahead with a warning. Moving on ahead, Dark Gaia finally awakens, and Sonic is drained of his Dark Gaia energy and lost his ability to be the Werehog. Chip then summons all of the temples throughout the world and forms Gaia Colossus. After Chip fights off Dark Gaia for a bit, Sonic then goes super and helps fight Dark Gaia with Chip. Sonic flies into the eye of Dark Gaia, effectively killing it. Chip must then stay underground and save Sonic by throwing him upwards. We then get a cutscene which plays similar to the one from the beginning of the game. Chip promises to follow him on the earth he treads, and we get a heartfelt ending for this game. It's a shame we don't ever see Sonic with Chip's necklace again, or even a reference to Chip again. Alright guys, so moving on with the next part of the video, the voice acting. Sonic is voiced by Jason Griffith, my personal favorite voice actor. He had been voicing Sonic from 2005 to 2010. Tails is voiced by Amy Pallant, but like I said before in my Colors video, I don't focus heavily on the voice acting unless it's Sonic's or Eggman's, but let's move on. Amy in this game is voiced by Lisa Ortiz. Following, Chip or Light Gaia is voiced by Tony Salreno, and the last important character is Professor Pickle, who is voiced by Dan Green. And of course, the very talented Mike Pollock did return to play as Dr. Eggman again. Of course, I am only showing off the main cast because this video would probably be a lot longer if I got extra characters like the Ice Cream Man and Apodos. Alright guys, moving on to the controls. This game controls a bit oddly, if I may say. Normally during the Sonic Adventure titles, you would press the jump button twice to homing attack. During Sonic Unleashed, however, you would be pressing X or square depending on the console you're on button. This is a huge complaint a lot of people had during the initial release of the game. Sonic, in my opinion, I can say is very slippery. There will be times where I want to just push down the switch when I stomp, and I will still slide across because Sonic is moving that fast. And this sometimes makes Sonic very difficult to control, but if you get used to it, it can kind of work well. The Werehog, on the other hand, controls very good in my opinion. The stretchy arms do help with platforming and combat wise, but to give kind of bad credit where it's due, sometimes the Werehog won't have a shadow. A perfect example of this is Skyscraper Scramper Night, making platforming a struggle. Without that shadow there, you don't know where you're gonna land, and this could easily become a life or death situation. Combat with the Werehog controls very well, and you're rewarded for memorizing combos. Along with this, the Werehog gets a double jump, allowing you to correct and focus where you want to jump. It's very useful. Finally, talking about the controls for Super Sonic in the final boss fight, literally it's just you press X or square depending on the console you're on, and you will be using controls to control Sonic to fly around and hit these arms, tentacles of the Dark Gaia boss fight. It's as simple as that, and you just fly into the head of Dark Gaia once you beat all those arms, and you beat the game. So that's about the controls for Super Sonic. Alright guys, talking about gameplay, we will be talking about daytime, nighttime, and general gameplay. First, let's start off with daytime gameplay. In this game, Sonic unleashes the first Sonic game to mix 2D and 3D style gameplay, along with using the boost feature. It is a concept which returns from Sonic Heroes' special stages and Sonic Rush. The boost works like this. Sonic will have a meter which can be filled with rings. Pressing X or square, depending on the console you're on, will allow Sonic to move much faster. He will also become invulnerable to enemies or attacks from enemies. Sonic can be controlled similar to a car and has drifting. Using the bumpers on your controller, you can quick step, which allows Sonic to change lanes. Similar to the adventure games, Sonic can collect upgrades, which will help Sonic through the game. They are the Stomp, the Wall Jump, the Air Boost, and finally the Lightspeed Dash. Each of these upgrades allow Sonic to not only progress through the game, but if you so choose to replay a day stage before you had a certain upgrade, you are able to take new shortcuts which before you had no access to. This hence can help you get a personal best time on a stage, making it more fun. An example of what I just said is, if you were to replay Rooftop Run and you have the Lightspeed Dash upgrade, you can take a shortcut which allows you to skip a huge 2D section on the clock tower. Each upgrade has its own button on a controller. Y or triangle is used for the Lightspeed Dash. B or circle is used for the Stomp. X or square, while mid-air, you can pull off an air boost. And finally, running up to a wall and pressing A or X instantaneously, you can pull off a wall jump. During Sonic's day stages, it is more common to find moon medals, which are needed to progress through the main campaign of the game. I'll talk more about that when we move to the general gameplay. Next, let's move on to the Werehog. When the night falls, Sonic transforms into a creature of darkness. Sonic grows crazed, long claws. His teeth become sharp and deadly, and he becomes slow, becoming nothing similar to what Sonic is known for. Alright. All jokes aside, the Werehog is an alternate playstyle for when the night comes. The Werehog, in my opinion, is very fun to play with. The Werehog's gameplay style is that of a beat-em-up. Admittedly, at first it can feel like a chore to play with, but if you take time to actually upgrade and learn combos for the Werehog, he can be a lot of fun to play with. Compared to the daytime Sonic optional upgrades, the Werehog has way more to offer in the upgrades options. The Werehog is slower than normal Sonic, and when going through his stages, he will have a life and unleashed meter. The life bar is what it sounds like. If you take a hit, you won't lose rings, you'll lose HP. However, collecting rings can restore lost HP. This is a huge change between the day and night gameplay styles, since if you get hurt, you lose rings in the day like any other Sonic game. On the other hand, the Unleashed meter is a temporary boost in stats. The Werehog attacks a lot faster, he's invincible to attacks, he becomes stronger, and most of all, he becomes a lot faster in general. The more you upgrade something like the Unleashed meter for example, the longer you can have Unleashed for because the bar becomes a lot longer. Alternatively, upgrading the health bar will make the health bar meter longer, allowing you to take more damage or sustain it. Something big that can really change whether you find a night stage is fun or not is combos. Upgrading combos will allow the Werehog to learn new moves which can eliminate enemies a lot faster, and it can be more fun while in the process of doing so. The Werehog stages can be quite long on your first run, but I promise I have tested it myself without glitches or cheats. All of the nighttime stages can be completed under 20 minutes. Werehog stages consist of a lot of platforming, and using the Werehog's stretchy arms will help you get from place to place. And with that out of the way, let's move on to the general section of the gameplay. Alright guys, here we are with the last section of the gameplay. In this game, Sonic will travel through 9 countries throughout his world adventure. Get it? Because the Japanese title of the... oh, whatever. The countries goes as follows: Apodos, Missouri, Spagonia, Holoska, Chunan, Shamar, Empire City, Atabat, and Eggman Land. Each country, excluding Empire City and Apodos, have a temple so that Sonic can restore power to the Chaos Emerald. Each country has its own hub worlds, which are filled with people and vibrant locations. This game probably demanded that it had hub worlds, because literally this is Sonic's world adventure. He needed this so that we could see how beautiful the locations are and how people are. Talking to the locals can give fleshed out stories, allowing you to make the fictional countries feel like real places where people live. However, something that is kind of annoying in my opinion is the side quest that is demanded to be done in this game, which is the collection of Sun and Moon medals. Personally, I think that the 6th generation of the game had better handling with the medals. In that version of Sonic Unleashed for the PlayStation 2 and Wii, medals were collected for completing stages, not going throughout hub worlds and stages or by finding them yourself. Not collecting medals throughout the game can cause problems. This problem is the unavailability to access future stages. This problem can show up as soon as Holoska Day, which if you don't have at least 15 Sun medals, you will not have access to the stage. Before I finish off this section, all I want to tell you as a viewer as some advice is, to complete the main campaign story mode, you will need 120 Sun medals and 80 Moon medals. So good luck if you ever plan on buying the 360 or the PlayStation 3 version of this game. Something I would like to mention is the inclusion of Professor Pickle. He is one of the most annoying characters that I had to constantly revisit during the main campaign. Not only do you have to complete stages while collecting medals, you must talk to Professor Pickle to access new areas. The thing is, he opens up new areas for you in a strange order, which makes no sense and it's abysmal. For example, he unlocks Holoska Day early in the story, but after completing those stages, you cannot get access to the night stage until way later in the story. This is why I feel that Pickle should have been there for souvenirs only after you saved him from Missouri. The only thing he did was disrupt the flow of gameplay. And finally, the bosses in this game were perfect. For example, Dark Gaia Phoenix was an amazing first Werehog boss, giving a good amount of challenge, allowing you to learn to use QTEs. The boss music was also amazing. The Egg Beetle was an amazing first daytime boss, making them very fun and enjoyable, along with a good amount of difficulty. All the bosses for this game I felt had the right amount of difficulty as well. The final boss for this game isn't Dr. Eggman, but a fight with Dark Gaia. This is one of the best Supersonic boss fights in the series in my opinion. All I can say is that it involves a lot of quick time events, and do expect to play with the Gaia Colossus for a bit. This is a new section of the video which I just made when planning this video out, but I knew this had to be a section because of how amazing the soundtrack is for this game. The game has one of the most beautiful soundtracks ever. Although I didn't have the physical version, the album is called the Planetary Pieces Sonic World Adventure. This is one of the most varied soundtracks in the series, going on from jazz, to orchestrals, to big bands, and etc. The thing that makes the soundtrack so special for the music is that each of its countries use real instruments which come from the actual respective country that the game tries to show. These instruments range from flutes, sitars, acoustic guitar, violin, taiko drums, saxophone, bamboo flute, steel drum, tumbas, and so on. There are many great tracks, but a few I would like to mention are Shamar Night, Windmill Isle Day, Arid Sands Day, Dragon Road Day, Jungle Joyride Night, and Empire City Day. And I can go on, but there's so many fantastic songs which are in this game. One huge piece I should mention, however, is the Werehog battle theme, which is what really shows the huge band section on the soundtrack. In these pieces, they have excessive big band tracks filled with brass, aggressive drums, and etc. Something that is said a lot is that the Werehog battle theme can become annoying after hearing it so many times. This is why I think they should have had an option to turn off this piece when playing the Werehog stage, but I'm a huge fan of the game, so I don't mind it too much. Normally when I end off videos like these, I would like to mention my likes and dislikes. Starting off with the likes, I love how in Sonic's adventure through the world, you can see the many different cultures throughout Earth, starting from Missouri, or to the South Asian Adabat. You can see the locals from each country don't only stay in their own respective country, but travel much like the real world. Some other fun things to mention are the hot dog missions, which were always fun to play through, giving you a challenge while replaying some of the amazing stages that this game offers. Challenges include beat a stage in under blank number of minutes, or have this many rings, or beat this many enemies. This gave a lot of extra content to the game, making the game more enjoyable. Both the day and night stages are fun in their own ways, so I never felt bored playing the game. And lastly, the soundtrack. I mean, you heard what I said on the soundtrack portion of this video, so let's just move on. Now, to move on to the dislikes, one of them is the Sun and Moon medals. I think that the game forcing you to do a side quest to pretty much beat the main campaign is a bit dumb in my opinion. Another thing I dislike was the purpose and constantly having to go revisit Professor Pickle. And I think that's it for my likes and dislikes. But without further ado, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to smash that like button as it is always appreciated. If you want to see more content from me, please consider clicking that subscribe button as it always helps out the channel. If you guys want to have some other content with me or just want to chat, follow me on Twitter at VMX17 of course. Thank you guys so much for watching and have an amazing rest of your day.